Hi guys, it's Siva. So this is my third time trying to make this video, but by the time I get around to editing it, the information is wrong and obsolete. Like, I was going to talk about how my instructor was going to move away. Well, he moved away in July. I was going to talk about how we were going to start training at a new place maybe and check it out. Well, not only did we check it out, but we've been training there now for like 2 months. I was going to talk about how maybe I was going to fight in September. Well, I ended up doing a fight in August. So yeah, all outdated. But I still wanted to make this video because the whole point of this channel is sort of my martial arts blog of my experiences and my journey. And this is a super relevant part. So in June, my primary instructor told us that he was moving to New York City for a job opportunity. My very first instructor, the very first Filipino martial arts instructor that we ever had, moved away after 6 months to Baltimore. So I'm really fucking tired of the East Coast stealing my damn instructors. No, I'm very happy. Both of them moved for important reasons, family and a job respectively. So, that's important stuff. And I'm glad for them. But, it's frustrating for me because I both really liked both of them as instructors and I really enjoyed that. So, but that sucked for us, right? That's the main thing, is that even though it's good for them and we're glad for them, it still sucked. Yeah, my primary instructor has since moved away to New York City. So we decided we would check out a school that's about 45 minutes away, not super close, but they have a DBMA curriculum and there are lots of dog brothers that train there. So we're like, hey, we'll check that out. And we checked it out, we really liked it, and we have now been training there for about 2 months. And the difference on that is actually fairly significant. Our prior instructor, our main one that we were with for 5 or 6 years, he was a full dog brother, but he was also very big into a lot of martial arts. He had instructorships in a ton of different martial arts, and even in the Filipino martial arts alone, he was an instructor in like 3 or 4 different substyles, a fair amount. His classes were very like martial arts nerd academic sort of thing, like learn a lot of material from a lot of sources. Some of it's not practical, but that's not the goal. The goal is just to learn as much as you can. So there's lots of things like disarms and drills and various techniques and things like that, like train you particular attributes, or just because it's part of the art and it's there's some history to it or things like that, right? It's not through the dog brothers lens where everything is focused exclusively on practical application. Although he was a full dog brother, he is a full dog brother. He didn't die, he just moved away. And the other thing about that, again, even though he is a full dog brother and a DBMA instructor, because of the venues in which we did our class, we didn't really do a lot of sparring kind of at all. Originally, when we first started learning with him, his classes were in his garage, it was a very nice garage. It was very well done, but it was a very small space. So there was not really space for sparring, especially with multiple students. So we very rarely did. And then aside from a brief period where we were in a commercial space, in which case my husband and I taught most of the classes. That's kind of not the same as getting instruction. And then after that, we were in a park, and it was at night after work, and so the park was dark. And so even though there's space to spar in a park, it's not really safe. You can't see the ground or, the barbecues and benches you're going to hit and stuff like that. So we also didn't do any sparring there. So basically, even though our instructor had a very good, martial arts lens for practical application, and even though he had fight experience and my husband has fight experience and stuff, in terms of actual skill gains in the fighting and the sparring perspective, I think very little, mostly like techniques and stuff. Also, as a unfortunate side effect of that, I have found over the years that I'm very bad at footwork. And I think it's because we did very little movement in the classes. Like we would do, okay, we're going to do sombrata, but we're going to move around and rotate and spin and change elevations and stuff while we do it. But and of course there were some dog brothers techniques in the curriculum that involve footwork, like Los Tricas and stuff like that. And we would work on those sort of things, but overall, most techniques we learned static and frozen and stuff. And this is not a critique at all of my instructor. It was just, again, I think a necessary side effect of the venues that we trained in. Also, the fact that there were lots of people there who just wanted to learn the techniques, and not everyone cared about, it being functional or realistic, or being good at all those things. They just wanted to learn. They wanted to get better at it. They were interested in it. Filipino students who want to learn more about their heritage, things like that. So I've always kind of been bad at footwork, just because I think all this time I've been learning, I haven't had nearly as much practice in it as other things. But the same with sparring, because when it comes to sparring, and probably especially fighting, is the thing that gets you the best faster is actual sparring and fighting, right? You can learn techniques. Like I said, I have 5 or 6 years of techniques under my belt, but I don't think I'm as good as someone who's been sparring heavily for 3 months, probably, when it comes to that sort of thing. Anyway, that's my very long-winded way of contrasting my old school with the new place that we're going. Their only Filipino martial arts curriculum is DBMA. Every class is oriented towards functional application. Every class has some degree of sparring. We've only been going there like 2 months, and the first month was very focused on getting my husband ready to fight in August. Obviously still useful for me and stuff, but so very big contrast. I like it. I'm having a lot of fun. I liked my old classes too, but it is a big change for us, coming from an Inosanto instructor who is also an instructor in a billion things, and just wanting to throw everything but the kitchen sink at you, and then you pick up, what you like and what you want to learn and what you want to play with, to this, which is very focused and mechanically very simple. Anyone who knows Dog Brothers material knows that, like, it's not complicated in the actual mechanics for the most part. There's something like the fucking Abecedarios, which I still can't do the crazy stuff that Crafty does. But like, the mechanics for what you do are very simple, very little like moves, but the depth there and what you can get out of those moves by getting really good at them and practicing them and knowing the timing to execute them and the context to execute them and having the eye to see the lines for when to execute them, like all that, there's a ton of depth there, even if mechanically, you're doing a roof block to a horizontal and a teep. I don't know, something like that. It also kind of fits with my learning style a little better too, because I am a very slow learner when it comes to physical things. I have my whole life been a big nerd, and I'm not physically coordinated. I'm not physically strong or in good shape. My other hobbies besides martial arts are books and video games. I work on a computer. I spend a lot of time on a computer. I sort of live in my brain. So martial arts is a very, very different thing for me, for like every aspect of my life is something physical. So consequently, I'm also very bad at things that are like that. So like, if I learn a new technique that has something I do with my arms and something I do with my legs, like, I have to totally master one of them, or not master it, but get it so I can kind of do it in my muscle memory before I can learn the other thing. Like, you cannot teach me fucking some technique that has coordinated footwork and I can't pick up both at the same time. That's just how I am, how I've always kind of been. Bad. This new style where things are much simpler and we're spending the whole class on like one technique with like maybe, here is sort of the progression into that technique, and here are a few variations that you can do with that technique, and like the whole class is just on that one thing. I feel like I'm learning a lot better because we're spending a lot of time on very particular things. And maybe I'm not very good at it, but like, I get home and I can remember it. I can remember and I can do it enough to practice it versus, the other style. And again, I'm not complaining about my old instructor at all. I love him. I miss him. His stuff was great. There were so many good things. His curriculum did have a lot of Dog Brothers in it initially, although when they went to the dog tag system and were trying to like more formalize DBMA, he took it out because he's going to make a separate system, and then that sort of never got finished. I think it's still kind of not finished. And so, yeah. But the new thing, again, only DBMA, doing good, really enjoying it. And I think in particular, the most important thing is it's probably going to help me actually be better at sparring and fighting, which right now with fights looming ahead is very important to me. So, yeah, I did another video. I fought in August. I did one fight with another new person. Not much, but I did it. That's the big thing for me, is that I finally got up the nerve and I did it. And I survived it. And thank you, Yana and Dennis, for being the ones to talk me into that. But there's a lady who's going to fight in September at the Open in the U.S., and she asked me back in May if I would fight her at the Open, and I said, probably, but I'm giving myself some wiggle room to back out. Well, now that I fought, and also because I do want to, there's never going to be any ladies that show up to fight if there's never any other ladies for them to fight. And so that's been a very big frustration for me for a lot of years, where I'm considering it, but like, why fucking bother? I'm going to show up and there's not going to be anyone for me to fight. And like, as long as all of us are doing that, it's never going to change. So I feel also a kind of an obligation to be there so she has someone to fight. So I'm going to try to do that. She's younger than me. She's much better trained than me. I know who she trains with. She trains with a full dog brother who's very good. Actually, kind of one of my favorite fighters in the U.S. to watch. She's had a lot of private lessons with Crafty. And she's also very skilled in multiple martial arts. She's always posting pictures from karate tournaments and from her BJJ tournaments. And yeah, so basically, I'm signing up to get my ass kicked very thoroughly in September. I just hope that I don't leave with 2 broken hands, because I'm not sure how I'm going to drive home. But yeah. So anyway, that's basically my huge update. Is my instructor moved away. I'm training in a new place. I'm hopefully getting better at sparring for doing so. I'm still planning on fighting in September. Gonna fight a lady. I'm going to be thoroughly beaten, but I hope I'm going to learn something from it, because that's the important part. And yeah, I think for now that's kind of everything. And I just need to actually edit this video and upload it, so I'm not talking about something that happened in the past already, like with all my other ones. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.